Hello, my friends, my unforgettable friends, unforgettable men, unforgettable women, and unforgettable you. So I want to read this book to you, and I'm going to be reading a chapter every week, maybe every day. Probably every day I'm going to read a chapter, and I'm going to put it online, and for a couple reasons. One, to get this book out to a wider audience, because this book is an amazing book, especially in my life, and also to improve my reading skills by reading to people, to an audience that I don't see, but maybe you'll come across this video and you'll like it and it'll inspire you to get the book. This book is very, very important if you want to have an unforgettable life. And a life that's absolutely amazing and always filled with awe and wonder, because you're not afraid of doing the small little steps, the small little changes in life. And that's what the book is all about, is one small step can change your life. It's The Kaizen Way by Robert Maurer, and it's such an awesome book. And so without further ado, let's get into the book and start reading it. So we'll start off with the preface. That will be one video, and then we'll get into chapter 1. That will be another video. Chapter 2 will be another video. And so this will be like an online audio book, I wanted to say. So anyways, let's get started. Small things with great love. It is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. It is not how much we give, but how much love we put into the giving. To God, there is nothing small. Mother Teresa. Change is hard. It's a sentiment so widely accepted as fact that we don't question whether or not it's actually true. There are good reasons why many of us see change as a mountain to climb. Consider New Year's resolutions, which almost always fail. The average American makes the same resolution 10 years in a row without success. Within 4 months, 25% of resolutions are abandoned, and those who succeed in keeping their resolutions usually do so only after 5 to 6 annual broken promises. Organizational change in business is also perceived as difficult. Popular business books preach quick fix solutions to managers looking for fast ways to motivate resistant staff. Often these people take the form of business fables. Often these books take the form of business fables, employing simple storylines and cute animals to convey their message. Some become bestsellers, like John Cotter's Our Iceberg is Melting, which neatly encapsulates and prevailing wisdom of this genre. Employees must be convinced of an imminent emergency, a threat, in order to be motivated to make some change. But contrary to popular opinion, change, whether personal or in business, doesn't have to be agonizingly painful, nor must it happen only as a result of scared tactics employed to shock ourselves or our colleagues into meaningful action. The pages you are about to read will shatter the myth that change is hard, effectively removing the roadblocks that keep individuals and work groups from achieving the results they seek. You'll learn that change doesn't have to happen only as a radical response to dire situation. This book will show you how to harness the power of Kaizen, using small steps to accomplish large goals. Kaizen is an ancient philosophy captured in this powerful statement from the Tao Te Ching. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Though it is rooted in ancient philosophy, it is just as practical and effective when applied to our hectic modern lives. Kaizen has two definitions: using very small steps to improve a habit, a process, or product; using very small movements or moments to inspire new products and inventions. I'll show you how easy change can be when the brain prefers for change, I'll show you how easy change can be when the brain's preference for change is honored. You'll discover many examples of how small steps can achieve our biggest dreams. Using Kaizen, you can change bad habits like smoking or overeating and form good ones like exercise or unlocking creativity. In business, you'll learn how to motivate and empower employees in ways that will inspire them. But first, let's examine some common beliefs about change and how Kaizen dismantles all the obstacles we may have spent years putting in our way. Myth 1: change is hard. Let's look at just one example how change can be easy, requiring little time, self-control, or discipline. A series of recent studies have found that people who spend a large part of their day sitting at or are at an increased risk of heart attack and even nearly or early death. Somewhat paradoxically, a Mayo Clinic study revealed that going to the gym for an hour a day did not reduce the risk associated with sitting for 6 or more hours a day. But this seems counterintuitive to everything that we think we know about exercise. Yet the issue here is not exercise, but prolonged sedentary periods. When we're sitting, our muscles go into a form of hibernation, causing our bodies to shut down the enzymes called KK1 that breaks down some of the fat in the blood. In addition, our metabolic rate and the rate of good cholesterol manufacture both slow down. The explanation for this dynamic findings is that the body requires the downward flow of gravity. Without it, the heart is compromised, blood volume is reduced, muscle begins to atrophy. Even bone mass is adversely affected. The solution to this scary picture is Kaizen. Simply standing from a sitting position doubles our metabolic rate. Go for even a short walk, and you have more than doubled your rate again. The moral of the story: the solution to the health risk posed by excessive sitting is not huge and unmanageable, i.e., a full hour at the gym each day, but rather small and doable. Getting up from the desk every hour or so, pacing, even fidgeting, all help the body to function effectively. In our bigger is better culture of IMAX movie, supersized meals, extreme makeovers, it's hard to believe that small steps can lead to big change. But the wonderful reality is that they can. Myth 2: the size of the step determines the size of the result. So take big steps for big results. Many businesses or many business articles preach the widely accepted wisdom that one can bet small, incremental change like those encouraged by Kaizen, or bet big, aka innovations. And that innovation is the path to survival, growth, and creativity. In our personal lives too, we often bet big, putting all our money on innovation, such as a crash diet or intense workout program, in hopes of achieving big results. But extreme diets and workout programs often fail. They require huge quantities of willpower, and often the willpower doesn't last. Consider that for many years, the American Heart Association recommended 30 minutes of exercise at least 5 days a week. No one I know has the time or very generous employers that would permit this recommendation to be fulfilled. Who has time during a busy work week or work day to drive to the gym, change into workout clothes, exercise, shower, get dressed, drive back to work? Enter research from the Mayo Clinic that demonstrates that moving throughout the day can bring dramatic results. By tracking the subject's activity levels through the petrometers they wore, researchers found that people who were lean but never set foot in the gym simply moved during the day. They paced while on the phone, parked further from the store entrance, stood more during the day than subjects who were overweight. This resulted in on average a 300 calorie a day difference, which over the course of a year could result in a difference of 30 pounds. The Kaizen takeaway? While more exercise is better than less, small amounts make a difference. A Taiwanese study of 416,000 adults found that those who exercise 15 minutes a day live 3 years longer than those who exercise less. And those 15 minutes do not have to be done all at once. Exercise for 3 minutes at a time, adding up to 15 minutes or more, can have clear and dramatic health benefits. And these strategies don't require huge expenditures of time, energy, willpower, and discipline. Turn to page 17 to find out how one of my clients, Julie, a single mom with overwhelming responsibilities, managed to fit exercise into her schedule. Her entry to working out was so great, or was so easy and painless, that Julie knew she could not fail. That's Kaizen in action. Myth 3. Kaizen is slow, innovation is quicker. Perhaps the most dramatic example of what can happen when innovation is used and abused is Toyota. The company called Kaizen its soul. For most of its history after World War II, Toyota exemplified quality automobile manufacturing. Consumers bought Toyota not for the style or the prestige, but for their unparalleled reliability. But by 2002, Toyota managers decided it was enough to build the highest quality and the most profitable cars. It wanted to be the biggest car manufacturer in the world. And the company succeeded. It built factories rapidly and added enough capacity to produce 3 million additional automobiles in just 6 years. But productivity came at a high price. Suppliers could not sustain the quality for which Toyota was known. And the new factories did not have the time to build a Kaizen culture. The result was over 9 million recalls, some well-deserved bad publicity. Here is an internal memo written before the crisis became public. To make so many cars in so many different places with so many people, our greatest fears is that we keep growing. Our ability to maintain discipline of Kaizen will be lost. Tiro Suzuki, General Manager, Human Resources. In time, Toyota recognized that abandoning Kaizen drove the company away from commitment to its core principles. Since the crisis, Toyota has slowed down production, given local managers in the U.S. more responsibilities for quality control, and trained new workers in Kaizen culture. Toyota has returned to focusing on quality, not quantity, as its mission, with an emphasis on correcting defects in production while they are small and easily fixed. And Toyota's reputation for quality has been restored. The company story is an excellent illustration of the ways in which Kaizen builds habits that can last a lifetime and help avoid the painful consequences of steps that may be in retrospect have been too big for an individual or for the work group to swallow. Kaizen, the spiritual side. Before inviting you to begin your journey through this book and to experience the power and the possibility of Kaizen, I would like to cover one more topic: spirituality. By this, I do not mean necessarily a faith in God, but a sense of purpose and feeling of fulfillment. Kaizen is much better a philosophy or a belief system as it is a strategy for success in change or enhancing some behaviors. There are two elements of spirit or purpose in which Kaizen plays essential roles: service and gratitude. Let me read that again. There are two elements of the spirit or purpose in which Kaizen plays an essential role: service and gratitude. As John Wooden, the legendary UCLA basketball coach, expressed it, you can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who will never be able to repay you. Other luminaries have spoken of the essential elements of service. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier. Mother Teresa. Service is even an essential aspect of the business applications of Kaizen. Each employee in a Kaizen culture is asked to look each day for ways to improve the process of product, lowering cost, increasing quality, and always, I repeat, always in the service of the customer. Very often, successful corporations such as Amazon, Starbucks, and Southwest Airlines define themselves as primarily devoted to service. As Colleen Barrett, a former Southwest CEO, says, we're in the customer service business. We happen to offer air transportation. We consider our employees to be our number one customer, our passengers, our second, and our shareholders. Let me read that again. We consider our employees to be number one customer, our passengers, our second, and our shareholders, our third. Kaizen demands that small change be to the benefit of the customer. What John Wooden, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King were speaking to was the daily practice of looking for small ways to touch people's lives. Recall the last day or two of your life. All the people you interacted with, those under your roof, those in other cars, on the highway, people who cared for you in the restaurants or grocery stores, people in the hallways of buildings you walk through, people on the phone. If you were 100% sure that you would have changed their life, maybe improved their lives, would you have done one or two things differently? Almost all of us would say, can I persuade you that if you let a driver into your lane or thanked the sales clerk or smiled at someone in the hallway, you can change his or her life? Of course not. But if you don't go through the day with the assumption that small moments, small gestures can touch people's lives, what is the alternative belief? We all have relationships we place in the innovative category. People who loom large enough in their lives that on our best day, they get the kindness and consideration they deserve. How you can extend that kindness in ways that would enrich our hearts and our communities. Gratitude is often considered an element of spiritual spirit or purpose. I'm going to read that again. Gratitude is often considered an element of spirit or purpose. But what are we expected to be grateful for? Innovation calls for financial gain, promotion, and possessions to stoke the fire of gratitude. But Kaizen invites us to be grateful for health, for our next breath, for the moments with friends and colleagues. When famous songwriter Warren Zevon was suffering from terminal cancer, David Letterman asked him what wisdom he gleaned from his illness. Zevon's answer was pure Kaizen, enjoying every sandwich. Some quotes on service and gratitude to begin your exploration of Kaizen. I long to accomplish a great and noble task, but it is my chief duty to accomplish small tasks as if they were great and noble. Helen Keller. We have to learn to live happily in the present moment, to touch the peace and joy that are available now. Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist Zen master. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Albert Einstein. I would rather have it said he lived usefully than he died rich. Benjamin Franklin. So my friends, that concludes the preface section of the book. Next video, we'll be talking and getting into the introduction, and after that we'll be getting into chapters 1, 2, 3, and all the way to the end of the book. So thank you for joining me today and checking out this awesome book right here. And have yourself a great night, and we'll see you, or a great day, depending on where you're listening to this and when you're listening to this. But let's just end it off by saying, have yourself an amazing, amazing day, and namaste.